Hey everybody out in YouTube land, my name is Mike and I love guitars. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this 2011 Gibson Les Paul Studio that I recently picked up at a pawn shop. It was cheap, it had a straight neck, but it was in serious need of some TLC. Let's do this. Now, I'm constantly checking out pawn shops in my local area, always looking for guitars and amps. While making my normal rounds recently, I came across this Les Paul Studio on clearance for a decent price. Now, it didn't have a case, but with the current gear market being what it is, even for used instruments, it was a decent enough price to go ahead and pick it up. The only problem with it, and the reason why I believe it hadn't sold sooner, is that this thing had, without a doubt, the most disgustingly filthy fretboard I have ever seen. Seriously. I've seen a lot of dirty fretboards before, but I've never seen anything like this. It's almost like whoever owned it last sweated pure mud or something. This thing was absolutely disgusting, but I'm not afraid to put in a little effort if it means I can get a decent guitar at a good price. First up was a deep cleaning of the guitar, followed by a good setup. Like I said, the neck is straight, but the pickups were raised so close to the strings that it had an extremely squeaky pick sound every single time a string was hit. So I began cleaning and setting up the guitar to see what kind of shape it was in underneath all the layers of filth. After getting the guitar cleaned up, set up, and pickup height adjusted properly, I have to say, this is like an entirely different guitar. Once I got the fretboard cleaned up and could actually see the wood underneath all the grime, I found what I originally thought was a rosewood fretboard actually appears to be baked maple. I honestly didn't know that Gibson used baked maple for fretboards, but I did a little checking online and found references to both rosewood and baked maple on Les Paul Studios during this period. The pickups and electronics all appear to be stock and use the early Gibson PCB and solderless connectors. I was able to get the action nice and low without any fret buzz, so this thing plays and sounds great. It's also one of the lightest Les Pauls I've ever owned, coming in just under 8 pounds. As you might have noticed, I have already done my usual cosmetic Les Paul mods and removed both the pickguard and poker chip from this guitar. Now, as simple as these changes are, they can actually be surprisingly divisive for people. Some people feel like Les Pauls should always have pickguards and poker chips. People like me feel like Les Pauls always look better without them. Still, other people feel like it depends completely on the guitar itself. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do with the guitar from here. Part of me wants to just keep it as is for a while and then maybe see if I can make a small profit on it to help fund the next purchase. But then another part of me wants to put all black hardware and a set of Fishman Fluence pickups in it and just turn it into a metal monster. Only time will tell what I end up doing with this in the long run. I'm just really happy to have picked it up at a decent price, and I'm not afraid to put a little effort in if it helps that price point. I'll pretty much always be willing to pick up a Gibson at a pawn shop as long as it's not priced too ridiculously. Or as long as it's not a fake. Unfortunately, I'm coming across more and more fakes in pawn shops these days. Most pawn shops are pretty upfront about the guitar being a fake, but it's not always the case. If you search around a lot, you can find some really great deals in pawn shops, but you also have to be very vigilant and make sure that you're not spending a lot of money on what will end up being a cheap fake guitar. Luckily, studios generally aren't worth enough for the counterfeiters to even bother faking them. Yet. Well, that's it for today's video. If you're in the market for a cool guitar, check out your local pawn shops. You might be surprised by what you find. Just be careful and make sure that what you're buying is legitimate. Ha! Finished another one. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.